Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. I am once again interviewing Madeline Bocaro, who wrote this book on Yoko Ono, The Infinite Universe of Yoko Ono. I did read it about a year ago, and it's excellent, highly recommended. And now, the first thing before we started this, you wanted to mention something about Sparks and the connection with Yoko Ono.
Well, sure. Since, we met as Sparks fans originally, and you have a big Sparks audience, I don't know if most Sparks fans know that, Yoko was doing a remix series in 2016, and one of the collaborators was Sparks. That the project was on Mind Train Twisted Records, and several bands we worked each song in the series. And the one that Sparks worked on was Give Me Something, which is one of her songs from Double Fantasy. And they did their reinvention remix, and they tripled the song's length, and they had multi-tracked Russell's voice like crazy on the top of it. Most people didn't take Yoko's vocals off, but Sparks, but multi-layered Russell, and tweaked her vocals. And it morphs into this mischievous orchestral waltz, and it's bombastic timpani, and Ron put on some brainy orchestrations of his own. So that's a cool thing. And I think Russell made a comment on it. He said, we were asked to do a remix, and if we were interested, we could do it without it being a club mix, as the format isn't of interest to us. They said, yes, of course, we expected to have a Sparks sensibility. With that encouragement, we did a version that turns the song into something we hope both Yoko and John would be proud of. We're very happy with the results. And that CD hit #1 on the Billboard Hot Dance Club Play chart in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2010.
And that was, I think you mentioned before, it's one of Yoko's favorite songs from the album, or?
Right. That she liked it, that mix as one of the best. So.
Yeah. I also think it's cool. I follow Sean on X or Twitter, and we, a little bit of, he knows me, I guess, from YouTube. But it's just cool. I'm looking, who does he follow? And he follows Sparks. He follows the band Ween that I love. It's it's just so cool. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. So let's talk about this first, and just go back and hit, I think you kind of talked about this before, but for newer viewers, just a short, your story about getting connected with Yoko Ono and her music, and how you became a fan and ended up meeting her.
Yeah. So it's a biography of her life. And I had started loving her when I was 10 years old in 1968. And I just kept everything I ever read about her. And when I started becoming a journalist, I would write about her songs, her albums, her artwork. And during COVID, a friend gave me software and said, you can dump all your documents into here and organize them. And I realized I had a 500-page book. And then it took me 2 more years to organize it and flesh it out into a biography, and it became almost a 600-page book. Yeah. And I'm just so happy that it's reaching all the great people. Like Sean is really supporting it, and her daughter and her grandchildren have it now, and her colleagues. So I'm really thrilled, because I wanted to get into her soul, not just the art and the music, but her philosophy. She's so wise and brilliant, and she sees the world like nobody else sees it. And I have a feeling her way is the correct way. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to put that out.
And she, especially in the 60s and 70s, right? Such a strong woman, right?
Well, she had to become strong. I mean, she was very shy. Her and John were both shy when they met, but she was more, it was based on conviction and confidence in her work that she came off as that strong. But she had to become strong because of all the misunderstanding and actual hatred that was flung at her. So she had to endure a lot.
Yeah. I still, if I just did a recent video. Oh yeah. My top 20 favorite double albums of all time, right? And of course, one of them is approximately Infinite Universe. And when I know I'm going to get some flack from some viewers, right, for it. So I just mention, I try and say, I enjoy it. You don't have to, but this is mainly all song based. She's not screaming all the way through it, you know. And these people, they actually don't listen to her music, right? They just,
they just
from one clip on YouTube or whatever, they like to bash her. But and then so after that, I only got me, of course, one comment, right? A negative, nasty comment, and just block. You just can't win, right?
It's still, but luckily the younger people aren't tainted by any of that stuff because they're just coming in fresh and they're seeing her and hearing her for who she really is. So that's great.
Yeah. And I was trying to think back the very first time I heard her singing, and I guess it was the B-side for Give Peace a Chance, Remember Love, right?
Right.
And I don't really remember, it might have been that song, but I think the song that really that I really started to realize I like her vocals is Who Has Seen the Wind.
Oh yeah.
I just thought it was such a sweet song, right?
We can talk about both of those in depth because I've got really great comments about those from people. Because my music, my biography has chapters about every album and every song because they're crucial to her life. All her lyrics are mostly about what's going on in her life and where she is in the world. And I'm following that up with a new book, and it's exclusively about her music. So this is going to be the cover. And
That's
it's
cool.
going to be out in about a year. I'm interviewing a lot of people who worked with her, a lot of icons, people who are influenced by her, and going deeper into each musical chapter. So that's really fun to be doing right now. So yeah. And
so are you going through each of her albums too, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a chapter about every album, and each song within the album is discussed there. So that's going to be.
Those are my favorite kind of music books. So looking forward to that. Yeah.
It's going to be really special. But you mentioned Remember Love. If you want to talk about that, this was, you said, the B-side of Give Peace a Chance, and it was one of the first proper songs that Yoko had ever written. And she played it to John, and he's like, let's do it. So they did it on the bed in the hotel room at the end of the bed, and after everyone had gone home after recording Give Peace a Chance. So, and John's guitar picking melody is similar to what Donovan had taught him in India with the Beatles, like on Sun King or Julia or Dear Prudence, that kind of acoustic style. And Sean Lennon said something really interesting. He's so insightful. He spoke on Sirius XM during a birthday tribute to his mother in 2021. And about Remember Love, he says, there's a sweetness and an obvious hesitance in her voice, which vanishes very quickly when she starts making her own albums like Yoko Plastic Ono Band or Fly. Mm-hmm. How intimidating it must be finding yourself in a world-famous couple celebrity relationship with a Beatle, having the bravery to jump headfirst into songwriting. For her, it must have been daunting. You can hear it in her voice. It's an appropriate and natural hesitance. Her husband is arguably the most famous songwriter in the world. There's something sweet and brave and something remarkable in the context of how she's going to develop. So he really gets it. And then her daughter, Kyoko, said that this is one of her favorite songs too. And she told me, I showed her what Sean had said. And she said, yes, there's intimidation of her situation. But I think another reason for my mom's vulnerability is that she was brought up to be circumspect about the word love. My grandmother, like many of the parents of her generation, felt that being overly demonstrative about love was unsophisticated. Mom is being very brave using the word love. It's brave and insightful about the real meaning of love, not just some romantic 60s abstraction. Mom was brave when she was wailing on Why, and she was also brave when she was melodically singing Remember Love.
Yeah.
So that's so insightful as well.
Yeah. And we'll get into some of her other songs because we're both doing a top 10. But I have not heard all of her albums, but I have some of them. And so would Do you want to do that now? We'll maybe go
Sure.
10, 9, 8, go back and forth.
Yeah,
Just to see
you pick
if
one.
if you have any of the same songs as I do.
Okay, we'll see.
So number 10 for me is Who Has Seen the Wind?
Mhm.
Want me to sing it for you?
Sure. Now you want to talk
Who
about
has
it?
seen the wind?
Do you want me to elaborate on it for you?
Sure.
Okay. So this one was it's the B-side of Instant Karma, actually, in 1971. And it's based on lines from a poem by an English poet, Christina Rossetti. It's a nursery rhyme. And it's just really about seeing something that's invisible by the effect it has on other things, like karma through movement or in stillness. And I love when Yoko says, when the world gets bright and clear, you'll know that we were there. Meaning, you know, there'll be a brightness in the world once John and Yoko have done their magic, you know. And it's so cool. It's like a Baroque acoustic arrangement. It's got Serene's tambourine on there, and Yoko sings in this quiet, childlike, high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
And the first verse is in a minor key, which is kind of Asian influence, and then it switches to a major key. And she described her singing on it. She said that the voice is wavering a little. There are shrills and cracks. It's not professional pop singing. The background is going off a little bit. There's something of a lost little girl about it. What I was aiming at was the effect you get in Alban Berg's Wozzeck, where the drunkard sings a slightly crazed voice, a bit of a broken toy. It was a quiet desperation.
Yeah.
So she deliberately sang it that way.
Yeah. So you're number 10?
Well, I don't really have them in an order. I mean, I love
You have to rank them in order.
Well, okay, so Who's in the Wind and Remember Love are like in my top 5, definitely.
Yeah.
But let me give you a little bit of Catman.
Yeah.
Which is from,
I almost picked that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of those characters in the song, like Catman himself and the Rosies, are coming to prominence now. Catman is this male chauvinist, and the Rosies are this tough gang of male bashing females that taunt him. Right. And she has lyrics in there from an old nursery rhyme, pat a cake, pat a cake. Yeah. And she makes that rhyme really sinister. In the last verse, she asked them to mark the cake with P, referencing perhaps a male body part, and put it in the oven. So, yeah, she was aware of these traditional American nursery rhymes, and she incorporated them into several songs, like Who Has Seen the Wind, even, and Dogtown, and Where Do We Go From Here? And she actually fact-checked those by calling her friends in America and asking them for the correct lyrics of the songs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she performed that on a show called Flipside Live. I don't know if you've seen that on Canadian TV. I'll send you the link. It's fantastic. It's live with Elephant's Memory. It's live in a studio for a television show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, cool. Okay, my number 9 is Kiss, Kiss, Kiss from Double Fantasy. I loved Yoko's songs on that album as much as John's, like every song.
Yeah.
And going back to Sparks for a second, the song Give Me Something, that has like a Sparks vibe. You know, the original song has a Sparks kind of vibe to it also, right?
Yeah.
It's something they would have kind of done.
They probably, agreed to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'll go with Sisters Oh Sisters from 1972 on Sometime in New York City. And so the opening lyrics to that, it's a feminist anthem, and she speaks of ecology, the loss of our clean air, green land and clean air. And it's kind of a sing-along tune, and it urges women to stand up and unite and use their wisdom to fight for freedom in a new world. And kind of has a fast reggae beat, because John was an early adapter of reggae and pop music. And Gary Van Sciac, the bassist of Elephant's Memory, said it was one of the hardest bass parts he ever had to play. And this has a great synth string arrangement by Ron Frangipane. And he's an accomplished producer who he played keyboards and arranged on the Archie's hit Sugar Sugar and a bunch of other things. And he also did the strings on Happy Christmas War is Over and on several songs on Approximately Infinite Universe, which are beautiful. And this string arrangement is kind of buried in the mix on the album. And when Sean did the remix for the deluxe box set, he put some isolated elements on there, and he put the whole entire isolated string section. And it's just such a gorgeous thing. You cannot believe this is underlying the song.
Yeah.
That's a real highlight of
it's a great pop song, right?
It really is.
And very catchy.
Mm-hmm.
If that song was played to somebody and they hadn't heard it before and didn't mention Yoko Ono, they probably like it.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say if Barbra Streisand recorded some of her songs, they'd have been hits.
Yeah. And I just noticed I forgot a song, so already I'm confused here. but my next one is I could almost pick any song from Approximately Infinite Universe, but Death of Samantha.
Gorgeous.
What's the story of that song?
So the story of that is she recorded that right after what was John's probably his first infidelity against her, you know. So he kind of left the studio because he was devastated about what he did and he didn't want to hear it. But it's strange because it speaks of an accident, part of growing up. Something inside me died that day, and it's about John's infidelity. But in the lyrics, it seems like she's foreseeing the vigil after John's death, because she says, all these great people are standing around in sorrow, and it was a snowy day, and these shades have seen a lot of things I didn't know myself, and that's before she ever started wearing the shades constantly. It's just like a kind of a premonition.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too. She wrote great lyrics, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, my next favorite is this song. I love. I don't have the album, but I forget the name of it at the second. It's Goodbye Sadness is the first song.
Season of Glass.
Season of Glass, yeah. That song, well, I love the whole album, but that song, I just remember I was going through a divorce at the time, and you get, of course, all depressed and emotional. When I played that song, it just let out the floodgates of emotions when I would play it, and it, in a way, it helped me, right? Yeah. That song is just so good.
It really is. A lot of the songs on Season of Glass were written in 1973, 74, because of course Yoko was devastated. This came out, 6 months after John was killed.
Yeah.
And she wrote some songs for it, but she went back into her archives and pulled out some songs that seemed like they were written at the current time, but they were so prescient. They were written back then. Actually, I picked a couple from Season of Glass, and one of them is the beautiful Toy Boat. And that's kind of a desperate lullaby. She's drowning in desperation and she's asking for help. And but everything she sees is a deception. She dreams of this picture lake and this castle full of flies. And the toy boat is kind of illusion of perspective. It's like this boat that she hopes is going to rescue her looks small in the distance, but when it comes closer, it's still remaining small. And it's this disappointing illusion of salvation. And it's just like the silver horse with no wings on the same album. Yeah. So.
And I don't know, we might have talked about this before, but the album cover for Season of Glass, I know some people are offended by it, but the way I look at it is I think John would have been totally fine with it. And that's reality, right? Right. I think that's what she was. This is this is what happened, right? Here it is.
Right. Well, she explained it too. She said, well, because, John was playing that song over and over when, the night he was killed, he was carrying the tape of it. And she just said, the record company didn't want to put it out with that on the cover, but she was like, there's nothing else I can put on the cover. This is what John is now. This is what I had to show.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Your next one.
I think I'll do Listen, the Snow is Falling. That's the B-side of Happy Christmas. War is Over, 71. And she has images of snow in a lot of her songs. This is what her MO is really. She has this calming effect like a snowy day, like slowing down our minds and blanking the world in white purity, where you really can't go anywhere and you're just left alone with your own thoughts, which is like a meditation. And I once read a description of the song that said, if a bonsai tree covered in snow and a haiku had a baby, it would be this song. So that was cool. And then she told the keyboard player, Nicky Hopkins, to play the notes delicately. And she described it like, pretend that it's snowing and snow is melting on your fingertips.
Yeah.
And I interviewed Jim Keltner for my upcoming book. And I asked him what his favorite Yoko song was. And this is his answer. He said, one of my favorite songs of all time. Now, remember, I've played on so many songs by so many artists for so many years. This is pretty profound for me, but my favorite song by anybody is Yoko's Listen, the Snow is Falling. Mm-hmm. She's not only an avant-garde, imaginative, wonderful, unique artist, she can write a song that can touch you deeply. Her imagery is so beautiful. Sky, wind, everything being art everywhere. You hear a little song like that and it's magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people have covered it too.
Yeah. And I was just thinking of the Get Back documentary on Disney. I think that showed Yoko in a whole new light. Mm-hmm. Time period because for the most part it was more positive than we used to think. For so many years it was all so dark and negative, but the Beatles, you could see Paul and Ringo jamming with Yoko. Mm-hmm. and Ringo's played on some of her.
Oh, Ringo and Yoko are cool. He always liked Yoko. He visits her every time he's in New York. It's great.
Yeah. Okay, my next one it's Yoko doing Elvis Presley. That's the way I look at it. Midsummer New York.
That's a great one.
The opening song from Fly. I love that one right away. Yeah.
Yes, that's a great one. What can I say about? I mean, it's just a rocker. She was kind of imitating Elvis. Yeah. It's nearly. It's just fun. She did two versions of it and they kept one and that was it. That's it. Yeah. All right. So I guess I'm going to pick. How about Dogtown?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dogtown is, hold on, let me get this off here. Dogtown was written in 1972, even though it appears on Season Glass, when John and Yoko lived in their Bank Street apartment in New York City. And it's based on Gogol's book, Diary of a Madman. She explained, like, when you looked out from the window there, you can see people's legs walking on the ground floor. And I remembered Gogol's book. Each time you read it, you get choked up. And the book is really a dialogue of two dogs speaking to each other. And he's going increasingly mad. And he's reading letters that the dogs have written to each other. And he loses sense of time. And in the song, she speaks of unfinished business and unfinished work. And she's talking about being remembered for the things she didn't finish. And a true song I meant to finish writing all my life. And she still feels like she hasn't done that yet, which is crazy because she's written so many amazing songs.
Yeah. And we do have to mention, we're recording this on the 16th, But when this is posted on the 18th?
17th. You posted on her birthday tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be her 93rd birthday. So happy birthday to Yoko.
Yes.
All right. My next one is the title track from Approximately Infinite Universe. And David Bowie was a fan too, right? Of Yoko's.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. He loved that. He loved her music. So, okay, what the title track? Yeah, it's like she's talking of a girl who's in constant hell and resorts to heroin. It's just all the pressure. She had written an essay called "The Feminization of Society" at the time, and it's like Sean says, the universe is infinitely large, so how can it be approximately infinite? She's kind of setting up that contrast.
Yeah.
She's just trying to, play with time and mind and everything. Yeah, it's a female lived one in a way.
And some of these songs, they're new wave before new wave even existed.
Right? Oh, yeah.
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 All right, we're getting near the end here. My next one is Give Me Something from Double Fantasy.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's the one that Sparks remixed. And yeah, give me something that's not hard. Give me something that's not cold. It was just, she was feeling all kinds of ways. And yeah. Let's see what I'll pick. Don't Worry, Kyoko. How about that? Yep, that's from Fly, 1971. Same album as Midsummer New York. And this is a freeform, wild one. And it's a plea from Yoko to her young daughter who was kidnapped by Yoko's ex-husband. And she had mailed the demo to her daughter to show that she still loved her because they'd been apart for months. And I actually asked Kyoko what she thought of the song when she heard it. And she said, it came out when I was 6. I remember receiving the single. It was a turbulent time. Mother and father fought a lot. I was an anxious child. I was honored that my mom wrote a song for me. Even as a little kid, I knew it was a great song and that my mom was showing her love to me, but it did not alleviate my anxiety. So, But this one's got Eric Clapton and Ringo on drums, John, and it kind of has the opening guitar riff to the Everly Brothers' Wake Up Little Susie. And this riff I hear it everywhere. I hear it like in Dylan's It's All Right, Mom, Only Bleeding, and Johnny Winter's I'm Yours and I'm Hers, which is the Stones performed live at Hyde Park in 1969. And Little Richard has a song called Green Power that kind of uses it. So it's great. And there was a fully recorded version of this, and it was twice as long as the album version. And it's really wild because it's just fantastic. Yeah. And it was covered by the B-52s and Yola Tango and lots of other people.
Yep. Well, my top 3, I don't know. They're all number 1 to me. So I'll just let you know what they are. They are, this is the one I forgot, Walking on Thin Ice. Even people that don't appreciate Yoko Ono's music, some of them like that song, right? And the other 2 are We're All Water from Sometime in New York City. And I think my favorite, if I had to pick a favorite, is Why, the B-side to Mother, and on her Plastic Ono Band album. The first, I remember I was with a friend that wasn't a fan of Yoko's music, but a big fan of John's. And he had the 45 with Mother and Why on the other side.
Exactly.
And the first time I heard it, I didn't like it, right? And we were joking. And now for the greatest song in the world, and we'd play it and laugh. But by about the second or third play of it, it's like, I didn't say it to him, but I said, I think I like this song. And I just ended up loving it. I just think, and of course, John's guitar work and just Yoko's vocals, it's just the energy of the track is amazing. It's one of my all-time favorite songs, but all 3 are just amazing.
Yeah, well, this one is spectacular. thing because, well, it all just happened. It was a jam session they did, for an hour before while they were recording John's Plastic Ono Band album in 1970. And they released the studio sessions of this whole thing in 2018. And it's amazing to hear how much effects was put on these tracks to make them so ethereal and credible.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got Klaus Vormann and Ringo and John. What could be better than that? And, John became mentally liberated by the Janov jazz primal scream therapy.
Yep.
And his guitar playing became inspired by Yoko's vocalizing. John said, what she'd done for my guitar playing was to free the way she'd freed her voice from all the restrictions. I just played whatever I could to match her voice. And he once called it today's Tutti Frutti.
Yeah. Well, even at the end of that song, he says something like, did you get that?
Were you getting that? Yeah, because the engineers would all kind of like not record Yoko.
That would suck though, right? If you think you're recording something and then, oh, I wasn't recording that, sorry.
No, not good.
Yeah. So for somebody that's interested in checking out Yoko's music, what would you suggest for a song and for an album?
The song would be actually, can I pick two? Yeah. And they're actually both from Approximately Infinite Universe. And one is, it's a Japanese title, Shiranakata. And I just love her voice on that. She sings in 4 different languages. It's kind of a Spanish morning song in a way. Yeah. And I would also pick Winter Song. Yeah. It's a beautiful melody. John says he wishes he had written that one himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I have a quote from John, Yoko is as important to me as Paul and Dylan rolled into one. I don't think she'll get recognition until she's dead. There's me, probably I could count the people on one hand that have any conception of what she is or what her mind is like or what her work means in this effing idiotic generation. So, he was her biggest fan. Now Sean is her biggest fan. And thankfully, he's preserving her legacy and hopefully, she once said, my son's friends are always exchanging CDs that they make privately, so far out. And, I have to just shut my mouth. I'm not going to say that's what I used to do. Great, isn't it? But it's really getting to that point. It's amazing. Yeah. So seeing that, time is catching up to her and she was totally way ahead of her time. That's really the whole explanation. And then Sean has another great quote. My dad had Paul to write with, and then he was hoping that my mom would be kind of a writing partner. And I think it's really funny that there's probably only one person in the world who would turn down John Lennon as a writing partner, and that's my mom.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. So I'll have a link, and this is in paperback now too?
It's been in paperback. It's in hardcover, which is only available through me at conceptualbooks.com. The hardcover is a little bit more expanded. And then it's an ebook now too on Amazon and BookBaby. So the hardcover and the ebook, I did it in reverse. I never thought I would have a hardcover. So I put out the softcover first. Yeah. And then later, this kind of like a really beautiful version.
Yeah. And the artwork on this, who did that?
This is by an artist called Kat McInnes. Yeah. And she also did my other one. I told her to make me a nighttime version for the music book cover. So yeah, she's an Australian graphic artist and she has a website, katmcinnes.com.
Yeah, excellent. So I'll have a link and you can send me whatever links you want and I'll have them in the pinned comment below.
Okay.
Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts are just that, Yoko, there's nobody like Yoko or her music. I would just say, this is her. I was interested not in the noise you make, but the noise that happens when you try not to make it, just that tension going back and forth. And I do the freaky song, so I'm not lip syncing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, and I'll have you back on when your new book. So you think about a year or so, or?
Yeah, probably a year.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you again, Madeline.
Okay. Hopefully,
And
I'll
I hope people check out Yoko Ono's music and the books, or the book. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. And happy birthday, Yoko, again.
Again.